Okay, welcome back to Feed the Love. Today we are making a Thai peanut slaw. And this is going to be very similar to if you wanted to substitute out cabbage for noodles, this could be a good recipe for that. We've made a Greek cabbage before, and this is very similar to that recipe. A lot of the same core tenets in how we're doing things, but very, very different flavors, very, very different regions. So what we're going to start out with first and foremost is how to process the cabbage. Now I cheated. I used a Ninja food processor, and I'll link the link for Ninja food processor below. The first one I ever had was KitchenAid. Loved KitchenAid. It died after about a decade, but I would use that sucker every week. So 52 weeks, 520 times minimum that I use that thing, and I make full batches when I cook. So that thing, we got the work out of it. When you're making cabbage for anything, first thing you want to do is wash the cabbage, and then you want to take off any damaged outer leaves. The next step is to take the core out, and as you can see, you go on the bottom where the veins are, and you slice very carefully with your knife in, just straight in. Watch your fingers. You want to go from vein to vein, and you just slice in until you've got the knife there. And then you turn it. Usually there's 3 veins, next vein to vein, and then the third one vein to vein. What that does is, because you're going down on a circle, it pulls a triangle out of the core. When you flip the cabbage over, you have a flat surface to put it on. Now you can cut into it safely without it rolling around. This also helps you with another strategy. A lot of times there's a pithy core that goes much further than this, as you can see that one in a little ways. So it lets you cut in. Once you've got those, cut it in half, cut it in quarters, whatever, you can cut and shave off that chunky bit that you don't want to eat, if you don't want to eat that, which I try to pull it out because I'm trying to make a nice, soft coleslaw, not a firm, crunchy one, with the base cooking here. Normally, you wouldn't even cook the slaw, but I'm going to do that tonight because I'm making this more of like a warm dish. Cold dish, perfectly fine, but I'm going to saute the sucker. Now, if you wanted to turn this into noodles, you would do the exact same thing. Cook it the exact same way I'm going to cook it, and then put it in Ziploc freezer bags, flatten it out, and freeze it, and then you have your batch of noodles for whatever broth you want to work with that are carbless, cabbage-based noodles. What I did was I started out with the ingredients that I want to put into my slaw. I'm going to top it off with some garnish. This is just parsley. I've got spring onions, which I love to put into this dish, and then I'm going to put carrots in here as well. So I've shredded my carrots. I took pickled carrots and I shredded them just with the grating feature. I don't need them to be long strands or pretty. I just wanted them to be in the food for flavor. So I used pickled carrots. These are 2-part distilled vinegar, 1 part apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. That way it's probiotic, and these guys are still pickling actively. I haven't opened this one yet. What I put in here was, before I put the carrots in, at the bottom I put ginger, I put mustard seeds, and I put fresh mint. And then I poured that brine over, stuffed the pickles in with the brine over, and then I put a lemon or lime on the top. And the reason I did that is because you want to keep the food you're trying to preserve below the water line. Lemon or lime is acidic enough that it's not going to moldy or mild or rot or anything like that in the top of that brine, so that keeps the food you're trying to preserve below that water level. Now remember, when you're preserving food, it needs to be pH of 4 or below. And we know that the vinegar is already that way, and with the mother in there, it's going to continue to pickle, and the probiotic is going to continue to grow off of the sugars that are in the carrots. So, first flavor, pickled carrots. Notice, I didn't put any salt in that. That wonderful brine is already going to be in there when you're done. Okay, pickled carrots. Next in is going to be the cabbage. Ninja blender. This is 9 cups. I would love a 12 cup, but I don't have that. I'll probably link the 12 cup in the description below. I love this food processor. It makes short work of everything. It's got safety mechanisms around it. It can chop, it can slice, it can shred, grate, all of those wonderful things. And the next thing I'm going to add in is going to be green onions. And I'm going to use a nice healthy portion, because when this is cooking, I want that flavor to come out in there. I'm still going to add some in afterwards, but I'm just going to put them on the top as garnish. And then a couple secret ingredients here. I'm gonna use some red pepper flakes, which I'm not a big spice person. Lots and lots of black pepper. Coconut aminos. And I'm putting this in there very liberally. It's gonna be at least a tablespoon because it's a whole cabbage. And I want it to kind of soak it up. I'm gonna mix this before I start cooking it on the stove. And the last thing I'm gonna do is I have these beautiful preserved limes. When you preserve them, when they're honey fermented, the fermentation process actually softens the rind so you can eat the entire rind. So I'm gonna throw a couple of these in here. And this is gonna bring out just beautiful citrus flavor. I do not have ginger today. I love cooking with ginger. So normally, I would put ginger in here. So I'm just gonna dice these guys really, really, really fine. See how juicy they are? And they literally just fermented in honey. The natural probiotics that are on the limes are what did the fermentation process. I stuffed the jar full of limes and just poured honey over it, let all the bubbles glug out, and a little bit of salt to slow the process down, let it burp for 2 weeks and then seal it up. Beautiful, beautiful. The flavor is amazing. Some of the color is still there from the limes. Only thing you need to focus on is getting the pips, the seeds, out of there. Okay. This is going to go on the stove and start sauteing. The next step is making the sauce. So with this specific sauce, it will burn. So I do not put this sauce onto the stove. I don't want the flavor to burn. It burns really, really fast. I need the cabbage to cook down, so I make the sauce separate and then mix it in at the end. So PB2, powdered peanut butter. Love this stuff. It's taken all the oil out. Oil's not bad, but it takes all the oil out and it doesn't have all that salt in there. Because I have a lot of cabbage, I'm gonna make a heavy-handed batch. So I'm gonna do 3 scoops. And then hoisin sauce. Now, you can make your own hoisin sauce that's not, it's gonna be a different flavor profile. You can use soy sauce or coconut aminos, you can use honey, and you can use molasses. This stuff does have a lot of corn syrup in it, but I need to use it up, so I'm gonna get it out of the house. Peanut butter and hoisin sauce is the core sauce, the core ingredients when you're using, I think it's Payway, their peanut sauce, which is a wonderful, wonderful peanut sauce. Oh, I may have emptied the jar. Which is a wonderful peanut sauce. Makes me so happy I got it out of the house today. I have a sweet tooth. This is wonderful. Eat it just as it is. It's like candy, which is dangerous. So with this, as you can see, it's not really mixed together. I'm gonna mix it together before I add anything else. I'm gonna do some coconut aminos. You can add all kinds of stuff in here. You can add ginger, you can add lime, all kinds of things into this flavor profile. But today, for simplicity, I'm just gonna make it very, very basic. Now, this is not gonna be very liquid. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use rice vinegar, and I really recommend using rice vinegar for this. Once you've made this, and it's gonna be very, very thick, you're gonna slowly add the rice vinegar in to thin it out to the type of thickness that you want in your sauce. You can use a fork to do this. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a whisk. I like whisks. They make life easy sometimes. I can mix together cake batter really, really quick with these things, faster and more even than if I had a mixer. Now, if I was gonna buy a mixer, it'd be a KitchenAid mixer. I have a mixer that I won at some event, and it doesn't reach all the way to the edge. I can go buy a spatula, but the spatula, I've looked online, their spatula mixture doesn't even reach the edge. So it's not worth my time. Okay, see already it's clumping, so we're gonna add a little bit of that rice vinegar. You can do a little bit of water too if you want, but we're gonna go first with the rice vinegar. That's not making any headway. We may be pouring some molasses into this one, which is perfectly fine. Roll with the punches, right? Life is life. Okay. Doing this on purpose. It's gonna thin it out, I'm gonna seal it up. Ooh. Get all that terrible corn syrup that's so delicious out of there. Ooh, look at that. It's not even liquid. And more water going into this. Okay, we're starting to get to a paste. See how it's coming together? It looks like a really crumbly dough right now. Add some water, but I'm gonna recover more of this. Hey, hey! How's it going?
It's going.
Doing good. For those of you who can't see, Austin just got on.
Hello.
He says hello. I'll put too much water in here. It's perfectly fine. I don't have to use it all. Remember, we're just thinning this out to a nice sauce. There we go. Now, it's becoming very pasty. So we want to go very, very slow with the liquid. We're trying to get it more like the consistency on the edge of the bowl. Starting to thin out, as you can see, but it's still very paste-like. We want this to fold in once the cabbage is done cooking. Okay, so here the sauce is kind of almost not quite as thick as a pudding, which is good because this we want to fold in and mix in and incorporate. So we're going to set this to the side, finish preparing the cabbage, and I'm going to come back once the cabbage has been sauteed. Sorry for the interruption, folks. We have more content for you. We have cookbooks teaching you how to cook instinctively, and we have more upcoming tips, tricks, and hacks. We just need you to subscribe to the channel, follow us. It'll help get more content in front of you. Thanks. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.